my hair looks a little crazy. I got a haircut. So listen, we're gonna do this a little bit different tonight. For the next 5 minutes, I'm gonna kind of talk to you guys and gals, but I am going to invite Pappy to come in and talk about Charcot-Marie-Tooth because I've talked a little bit about mine on the channel. And I'll do mine later because right now I need Pappy to help me with this stuff that I'm doing. So I'm not really too concerned about my side of it, which I will do. But I want to talk a little bit with him about when he noticed he had CMT, how it affected him growing up, surgeries that are different because that's a thing that I can tell you about down the road. And then I'll let you guys kind of like we'll talk about how CMT finally caused his paralyzation because he's paralyzed from the nipple line down. So we're gonna work on that too. We'll talk about that. But yeah, that's basically what we're doing here tonight. If you could hear a feedback, Pappy's in the room beside me. We're trying to do this like in a manner where I don't have the feedback, but at the same time, we're kind of, like talking about the topics that he can help me. I'm also gonna this week on Wednesday. I'm gonna try to do this during the day. I'm gonna try to see if I can get my friend Bombay to join me and talk about how it is. He's a nurse. See how that goes. And then I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do for the last one because I have to do one more after this. So I have to do this for 4 weeks, once a week. That's what I'm doing. So I'm not going to stop after this. I kind of have enjoyed doing these 30-minute chats with you guys and gals. We're going to do that. I need to do my eyebrows now that I did the rest of my face. But I'm enjoying the chats. I'm enjoying conversations. It's what we're going to do. I hope this isn't boring for anybody. I hope if you know what Charcot-Marie-Tooth is, I hope you get a little bit of an insight into that. I hope you enjoy the Charcot-Marie-Tooth chat. And if you've ever seen the feet, I hope you know that I walk right now on my ankle bones. So, and Pap got a little bit of a surgery that kind of, I'm pretty sure gave him a little bit of a lengthier time walking. Because, I mean, if you guys don't know, my father was a paramedic. So he helped people on a day-to-day basis, basically, and did it with Charcot-Marie-Tooth. So I'm going to send him an invite here in about 30 seconds. Hi, Middle East. How are you? I don't know why that's being held, but hi. Oh, hi, Mr. Smart Guy said I suck. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Hi, how you doing? How you doing, Mr. Smart Guy? How you doing? I suck. I don't know who that is, but I'm going to show it. There we go. I'm not really worried about it. I know. It's fine. How you doing? It's going to flag it because, YouTube's chat stuff. It flags. So, how's it going? But, no, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. YouTube doesn't get the humor. Like, that goes. Real man, what's up? All right, so let me send this to Deb. I try. I don't know if I would say that I'm good at this. I think I just my finger like. Okay, so question. Me sending that, did that cause a problem? Did you guys have a little bit of a glitch in the Matrix for a second? Or did it just go through? Did it go through okay? Was there like a little... Because it always shows me it's coming back. So, which is weird. I don't have a gimmick. I'm not a gimmick. I don't like gimmicks. Not a gimmick at all. I don't like gimmicks. You get what you... I'm basically me. You get me. So, I do. I don't have any biologically, but I do have kids. Yes. Hold on, let me get Pappy here. There he is. So this is my father, Gary, guys.
Hello.
He is going to be talking to you a little bit about Charcot-Marie-Tooth. So, if you guys don't know what Charcot-Marie-Tooth is, it's a very interesting disease. It affects A lot of our skills, functions, speech, uh, feet,
Breathing.
um, yeah, everything. So, um, let you guys. Okay, so let's start off with this. Can you guys hear Pap? Okay, is everything okay in chat? Can somebody give me an okay?
Do I need to talk?
As soon as we get it okay, I'll start this because I can't hear it coming back,
Do what?
and I'm hoping there's not feedback happening. So, because that's another thing that happens sometimes. You can hear it? Okay. All right. So Pap, what we're basically gonna do is hereditarily, I got CMT from the male gene, which is you. So, haha. So why don't you tell them how when did you first notice that you had Charcot-Marie-Tooth?
My biggest thing was when I started school and all the other kids could run laps around me. And also, I would fall a lot because my ankles would give. So, mainly probably in kindergarten and first grade when all the other kids were running around me and doing stuff. Then that's when I realized.
I'm not laughing at him, by the way. I just I understand. So I'm just so he's talking about falling down and stuff. He can attest to this. He got called probably more. He probably got called a lot of times for me having injuries, and it was always like ankle twists or something like that, right?
Yeah, that's all the time.
So that's I'm not making fun of him. I can feel like and I understand exactly what he's talking about. So if you guys see me laugh at things, it's not making fun of him. I'm agreeing with him because I understand just how shitty that could be. Um, what so how did so beyond with the kids and stuff with CMT, how did you also notice as well that it affected things through your childhood? Do you have like memories?
But not really because I did all the stuff that I could with the kids and stuff as a kid. I
What
rode a bike, I did everything. So it was hard to really, for me, to accept the fact that I had CMT. But the diagnosis didn't come until 6 years, 7 years later. So, and like I said, my dad had it. He died at age 46, and they think he just threw a clot from his feet being so bad.
Now
And
this
he,
is something interesting. We'll talk about surgeries here in a little bit. That's something if you want to delve into that just a tiny little bit whenever we talk about that because we've always talked about granddad's surgery. Like granddad's surgery was insane. So to give you guys like a difference of how it happened back then to how like it happened with dad to how it would have happened with me because we talked about it. Like the surgery has changed a lot
a lot.
over the years. Um, do you remember like having problems like riding a bike? Was that difficult
The
with
bike wasn't
CMT?
as, the bike wasn't as bad as the running and playing.
Because of putting like the weight and the
Yeah,
pressure on the feet.
right.
Gotcha. Did you ever
And
try? Okay, so we've had the discussion and you had to come get me. Did you ever whenever you were a kid try rollerblading or ice skating?
no,
Okay. All right. So I
I,
was the only
I
dumb one that tried that.
I tried roller skating one time, but I couldn't even do anything with it. So
Did you do the did you do the double ankle twist like I did?
no, I couldn't even get up on them. So
Okay. All right. So guys, I did that. So that's what happened to me whenever I tried it. Um, so whenever you were 16, right? You had surgery?
yeah, actually 14.
14. I'm 14. Okay. Do you want to run them through a little bit of an idea of how that surgery worked?
Okay, we lived in a little town called Elkins,
It's
and
in
we
West
had
Virginia.
in West Virginia, and we had to go to Morgantown, West Virginia, which is almost a 2 hour trip to have the surgery done because they had to go to a crippled children's clinic.
Gotcha.
And at the triple crippled children's clinic, they went in and checked everything, and there was tons of kids. there with CMT and other injuries too, but there was kids with CMT, and I hadn't really seen or noticed any before. But I have cousins that have CMT. My grandmother on my dad's side is the one that passed the gene to my dad. So it goes down through. My aunt, one of my aunts had, and one of my uncles had CMT. But almost everybody else just had regular stuff. So it was a hit and miss thing depending on the genes.
And I got it good.
You got it good. I got it good.
You got it good. So we were lucky.
And they also said that it could go for 6 or 7 generations, and then it'd be recessive for one or two generations. So those people might not get it, even though the other people's carrying it. So it's a crazy thing where the genes play the big role. So,
hi Richard. Sorry, I wasn't trying to not pay attention to you. So what did they do? How did they do your surgery?
Okay, they did. I had to go to Morgantown, and the other funny thing was I had to go on a Greyhound bus because mom and dad, neither one drove. And actually, my father had already passed away by then because
of the clot.
He had a severe heart attack and died. But mom had to take me on a Greyhound bus to Morgantown, and then they put me into the hospital at it wasn't at WVU hospital, it was at Mon General Hospital in Morgantown. And they got me all settled in the room, and mom had to leave because she had to catch a bus home.
Ooh.
So I was there, 14 years old, by myself, knew no one, of course. So we got there, and the next day they took me in for my surgery. And I was in a cast up to my hip for 6 weeks after the surgery.
Explain to them the surgery. Like, what did they do? What was the procedure?
Just a second.
Sorry, this is a CMT thing, guys. This is a CMT thing. We have to drink water, fluids.
So they did what was called a triple archdesis. And technically what they did was they went in and scraped all the stuff from in between the bones of my feet and let it fuse together. And they took a pin and ran it from my big toe clear to my heel. And then in 6 weeks, I had to go back and get that pin taken out.
Oof.
And as a teenager, I was scared to death that was going to hurt terribly bad. And so after they did everything, sorry, folks.
You're good. Take a drink. You're good.
After they did everything, the surgery and everything, like I said, they went in, scraped all the stuff in between the bones, the cartilage and all that. And then they took the pin and pushed it through so that the bones would grow together in the foot. And they also had to do something with my ankle. And so they had to fuse some bones there too. So I had a pretty stiff foot.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of movement at all.
That wouldn't give it all. So
so explain to them. So that was his surgery. So that's my dad. That's his surgery. Explain to them, because as a kid, like you explaining this, kind of give them a rough idea of what they did to granddad.
Okay, my dad, when he had his, they thought that just reshaping the foot would take care of the problem. So he described it to me and to mom and the other kids that it was like they ran his foot through a wringer washer and had the wringer rollers, and they just ran it through, crushed all the bones, and then positioned the foot the way they wanted it and made it look like a foot again. And that's how they did his surgery.
So if you guys have never seen wringer washers, It's almost like two rolling pins, put on top, one on the top, one on the bottom, and stuff goes through it, and you kind of used to turn. That's how they used to. And then there was electronic, but like,
That's
yeah,
how they used to wring out clothes.
yeah. So, ugh. So that's my grandfather's. That's how he. No, yeah. So this is they've done research and they may have found the gene. And they are saying that down the line they may be able to do gene therapy and actually stop it embryo based. And there's actually a pill right now that's apparently in London, in the UK, that you can take that actually is supposed to fix a lot of the stuff. But I don't know if it's true or not. It's not. It's really hard to get it in the United States. Um, so we've talked about that. He's told me that story a million times, and every time it makes me cringe. Because whenever you have bad feet and they're like, oh, they put your foot through a ringer like dryer washer thing, blah, 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 that would have to hurt. So Dad goes a good while. You were a paramedic. You ran on an ambulance
Yeah.
with CMT.
Well, I had the first one done in Morgantown, West Virginia. And the second surgery was a year later.
Okay.
And it was at National Orthopedic Hospital in Arlington, Virginia. And they did about the same surgery.
Gotcha. So is that whenever you had moved?
Virginia. We had moved to Virginia.
Okay. Gotcha.
So 14 was in Morgantown. At age 15, I had the surgery at National Orthopedic.
And if anybody's asking, we tried to get surgery for me whenever I was a kid. They would not do it.
And they kept saying it causes more problems than it helps.
And maybe there might be a connection. So we'll get into that too, because that comes in a couple seconds. So what do you remember as a child? Do you remember basically trying to do everything that you could? To, you know what I'm saying? You just wanted to be a normal kid. Whenever, do you remember some of the tough things of being like a EMT, being a paramedic? What was the worst problems you had because of CMT?
I think the worst things was the climbing in the mountains and going on rescues and stuff, because there was a couple of times we had to hike a couple miles in and a couple miles back out. And at that point, I was just wearing regular shoes, because after they did my surgeries, they put me in regular shoes instead of the built up shoes like Greg has to wear. And it was to the point where it was hard for my feet and ankles to take all that walking. And but that was my worst, I think, was the in and out. And also because your foot and ankle gives very little, it was hard to get it to contour to the road or the path or whatever.
Or rocks.
Yeah, it was always hard to walk.
There was a story that he told me one time where he took a 2-mile trek. That was basically just a rocky, ledge and road.
That was up.
The coming back from that was incredibly hard. So 2 miles in, 2 miles back.
Yeah, I even actually sat down and told him to come back and get me later. They could have my body. Because I thought the bears would eat me by the time they came back, because we were on a place called Dolly Sands. And it was just a rocky, terrible path. And my feet.
You should look up Dolly Sands, guys. It's in West Virginia. You should look it up.
I twisted ankles and everything else on that track in and out.
So we're doing something for YouTube, guys, and I can only do 30 minutes. So I'm gonna let Dad for his last 5 minutes here, because I have to do another 5 minutes to end. I'm gonna let him tell you exactly. So he was an EMT, got an infection in his foot, and if you guys haven't noticed, he is, like I said, he is paralyzed. He is wheelchair bound. Do you want to give them an insight into how that happened?
Okay. The shoes and stuff, I always had breakdowns on the bottom of my feet from the way the surgery's was done and everything, and from the pressure points. So I'd always have ulcers in certain places. And on the left foot, I got an ulcer, and it would heal up, and then it would break open again, and heal up, break open again. And then the last time it broke open and was infected. And the only way they could save any of my leg or me was to amputate. So I had to get a large doses of antibiotics, and they went in and amputated just below the knee. And so my wife was an RN, and we both worked in the same emergency room. And after the call would come in for the ambulance, then we'd have to leave the emergency room and go on the call. So it was.
So after the surgery,
yeah,
after he had the amputation, we were on the up and up of trying to get him walking. We actually were within. We were 24 hours away from getting him fitted for his very first prosthetic leg, and something happened. Do you remember what happened?
That has to be when I woke up. And
yep.
So I woke up, I went to bed one night. I wasn't feeling the greatest, but it was nothing real bad. And I woke up the next morning and I couldn't move from my chest down. Everything was just.
He called me, and I came to help. And he thought he was weak. So he honestly thought he was weak. He thought he was having problems. He thought he was weak. He thought maybe he was like weirdly dehydrated or just really sick. And he almost pulled me off of a couch. So I knew at that point in time he wasn't weak. We had something else going on. Do you want to kind of explain to them what happened?
So what had happened is, because of the amputation from the leg, and the antibiotic didn't get to an infection that had formed on my spine. So I had a very big pus sac that was putting pressure on my spinal cord. And it pushed so long on my spinal cord that it finally caused the nerve to die that was running down through the spinal cord, and that's what paralyzed me.
So he had an encapsulated mass of infection that basically, we're not sure what happened or why it did, but it burst. And whenever it burst, it attacked his spine, because that was the weakest part. Because you had a back injury from being a paramedic.
Yeah.
So was that the time you fell out of the shower?
No, I had a couple spinal fractures.
Okay, I gotcha. So basically, what happened was once that ruptured, it went to the next week. It went to the weakest spot, and it ruptured.
Yeah.
And there, Pap woke up the next morning, paralyzed from the nipple line down. So it took us a little bit of time to get him back up and kicking. He went through rehab for a while. He had at one point in time, the spine was really bad because it was still wearing down. That he went through a surgery that took, how many hours was that?
I don't remember how many hours, but it was 8 or 10 or something.
And the thing they told you was that they were afraid you would be blind after it because you were on your face the whole time.
Yeah, if I lived through it.
If you lived. Yeah, there was a 30% chance of living.
Yeah.
And he came out of it good. The only thing was his lips were swollen. He sounded like Mushmouth whenever he contacted me.
Yeah.
But his lips were swollen. Beyond that, he came out okay. And the 17th of March, he turned 69 years old.
Yes.
So he's still rocking and rolling. In a wheelchair, but still rolling. So, and that's what I mean by rolling.
Yes.
So that's how it affected his life, but also how it turned out at the end.
But the CMT also interferes with your hands.
Yes.
So we have like club fingers.
They call them monkey paws.
Monkey paws, club fingers.
So, show them hands. So if you kind of look like the muscles in his big time have kind of worn out. I'm starting to get it in this one. The muscles have worn out. So like for example, like this, I can still do this on this hand.
I can.
He can, which is something he can't do. But my thumb has gotten so weak now that I can't do a normal okay on this hand now. So, and that's another thing. You start to lose muscle use in different parts as well.
And not only muscle, but coordination.
And coordination. So, but like I said, he's been pretty lucky so far. Yep. He went through a surgery that they told him he probably wasn't going to survive, and he survived it. But per YouTube and doing this thing for them, I have to let you go so I can finish this.
Okay.
So I love you, Pat. Thanks for doing this with me.
You're welcome.
And I'll see you in a little bit.
Thank you. Everybody.
Yeah, go ahead.
Everybody enjoy. Glad I could spread a little bit of insight into CMT.
All right. Love you, Pat.
Love you. Good night.
Good night. All right. So guys, I gotta finish this out. So I'm doing this little thing for CMT. So chat. Can you live a long life with CMT or doesn't? Okay. You can live. Okay. If you take steps and you do certain things, you probably can have a long life with CMT. So that's the main thing. It just depends on how. It just depends on how that works out. So, for example, with me, in 2010 I had to get special shoes. The main reason of that was because I had upgraded so many skateboard shoes that I just couldn't use. I couldn't wear them anymore. Like my ankles were not going to take them. My feet were turning, and everything was getting bad. So I couldn't. There was no way that I could not. There's no way that I could not have went to special shoes. That probably, honestly, in a way, made it so it's a little bit worse on me. If I could have stayed in regular shoes for a little bit longer, I probably would be able to do this a little bit longer. And plus, if I would have had surgery, I probably would be walking a little bit better to this day. But there's no one that could tell. There's no way that I could have known or not if I would have ended up with because what they said was with dad's surgery, there was a really good chance that you would end up amputated down the road. And there's no chance, there's a pretty good chance that I would have been amputated. There's a pretty good chance, honestly, that I still can. And I'm not afraid to do that, actually. So that's not off of my to-do list, at all. So I was going to get surgery. My doctor left the place that I was going to get it at. So I'm still trying to figure that out. But they do a surgery now. So the surgery they do now is they basically they cut all the tendons and they go in and they reshape and they move the foot and they put rods in. And that's what you do to kind of set your foot. And then it's setting your foot. So it basically would be my foot the way they are in my shoes. And that's basically the best we got. So now the hands and stuff, there's nothing that I'm gonna really be able to do about that, unless this pill that they're talking about comes out and does some kind of miraculous thing. So you used to live in West Virginia, Richard. Nice. Which part of West Virginia? Amputation is definitely not off the list for me at all. I am not afraid to amputate. If I have to amputate both feet, I have so much pain. So I have pain constantly daily. There's not a time that I honestly don't have pain. It's always there. I take ibuprofen a lot for it. It subsides it some. It helps them with the swelling, but it's never really going. The pain is always there. That's what CMT does. So I'm always in pain in one way or another. So. Oh, you're Buckhannon. Okay. I know where Buckhannon is. Big time. And he knows where Elkins is then. And you know where Elkins is then. So you definitely know that area. Yeah, I know Buckhannon. My ex-wife was from, she used to go to Wesleyan College. That's in Buckhannon, I think. Yeah. right? Yeah, I think so. Is that right? Phantom pain is the thing. Yes. Dad has a little bit of phantom pain. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'd rather deal with the phantom pain. So that man right there, Randy Wright. I'm gonna try to get him to join me Wednesday and talk about being a nurse, because I sent him, like, him and Dad are the two people that I send all my gruesome foot photos to all the time. Um, you know, has phantom pain. Dad has some of it. We've tried. Have you ever heard of the little secret, like, well, not secret, but the trick thing where they tell you, like, if you have a foot, if you put a mirror, it could, like, work on, like, make your, like, brain, like, believe that, like, you have the foot still there. All right, thank you, whoever the mod was. I appreciate it. But yeah, so basically, Charcot-Marie-Tooth is starting to get a really big, like, uptick. It's starting to get some traction. I wanted to have Dad's side of it, because it's really interesting to now how they do it, but also, like, back whenever he was going through it, and then back whenever my grandfather was going through it. That's the thing that I wanted everybody to kind of, like, understand and kind of, like, get a feel for and just have the information of. And I'm not opposed to, like, I'll do another video of this. I'll tell you guys, like, the CMT stuff all the time. So I'm not opposed to doing that. I don't mind talking about Charcot-Marie-Tooth. I don't mind getting questions about Charcot-Marie-Tooth. So if you're watching this later and you're interested in what's going on, you down in the comments below, absolutely, like, ask me questions. I'll answer them to the best that I can. If you ask me questions in the comments, I'll do another video answering your questions. Because I'm not opposed to talking about it, and I'm not afraid to talk about it. I'll tell you, like, the goods, the bads, the ups, the downs, like, stuff that I went through. I mean, I have stories galore. I've put a couple up on videos that I've done just to make, because there's some funny times so that I've had, like, and I didn't even, like, that's just, like, later in like, teenagehood. I could go back to whenever I was a kid and tell you guys stories about the first time I went into a roller rink, which was the worst time of my life and a big disaster. And I could tell you about playing Gaga. I don't know if you've everybody freaking out because they thought that I broke my foot. There's a lot of funny stories, and I know that sounds horrible, but it made me who I am. So, and I don't mind it, because it made me appreciate and understand people differently. So, because of CMT, whenever I was growing up, and I'm looking at the time, so I'm going to be done at 35. Because of CMT, whenever I was growing up, it made me appreciate everybody. It wasn't in like a group. I just wanted to be a part of everybody. Like, and that's probably why I stream these days. Because, like, I want to be a part of everybody. Like, I want to be a part of everything. I want to be inclusive in that, and, like, get to know everybody, get to know people, and, like, what makes them drive, and, like, struggles and stuff like that. It's kind of an interesting point. Like, life is, you're not the only one in life dealing with things. There's always other people dealing with things, and maybe worse things. And that's the thing that I love about life and, like, getting to know people. Like, we're all struggling. We're all going through different crazy things. Probably a good way that you can help people out too. So, because, if you're struggling, they're struggling, it's probably a good way to get together and get help processing that stuff and working on it. So, but I do got to go, guys. I love all your faces for coming in. I will do more of this. Like I said, in the comments below, give a thumbs up if you like the video. In the comments below, if you have any questions, ask me. I will come back in. If you want to ask Dad questions, I'll get him back in here and we'll do it again. I love doing this stuff. I love doing this live stuff and talking to everybody. So you're welcome, White Wolf. Tell Lady Wolf I said, I can't do it right now. My throat's blown, but it works. But all right, guys and gals, I love your faces. I got to roll. I'll talk to everybody soon. Have a good night. And if you want a little thing to do, like on the, the offside, check out Charcot-Marie-Tooth and see what you guys think. So, all right, love your guys' faces. Talk to you later. Bye, everybody. You know what? I always forget, by the way, out there in TV land, I always forget that I have to hit OK after this. And then there's this weird moment where I have to wait for it to stop that you guys have to stare at me.